7-yard line. That's a great call, too. Play fake, and Bubba will put it up, throws over the middle. Touchdown. Great play.
That's a way. Trying to center off with Eckerly, and he just missed the net. O'Reilly with the shot. Far down, he scored.
From behind for a month. Now with the lead, they're getting a little wobbly. Philadelphia, they won't get him. Wow! Edwards pulls up and buries the flag. Shot for Derby!
What is up, my peeps? Welcome into Mike Days at Hump Day Woo edition of Pitchfork Lunch. Yes, you guys know that was from my mama. It's her favorite commercial, favorites of all time, just because, yes, the silliness of it. But nonetheless, welcome into Pitchfork Lunch. I am Michael Caratino at Diablo00 on X, the artist formerly known as the Twitter, as you guys all know. See the show live there every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. See show live there every Monday, Friday, 12 to 1. Also, as you guys know, you can, check it out on my wonderfully phenomenal, good old IG at michael.caratnudo.5. Yes, I know I remind you every day, but, might as well, just in case you're wondering. And also, again, watch live on YouTube, but even if you're watching live, subscribe to my YouTube channel, kids, because just like me, you can go back and you'd be able to catch up on any of the shows that you've missed. And believe me, I want you to watch live, but you've missed a plethora, as I like to say, of con reviews with coaches, players, voices, insiders, analysts, alum. You're getting the picture. I know this, but yeah, you're getting the picture of it because there's been a ton there and a lot of friends of the program and aiming to have more and more. Come on, we're growing. We're growing the Rolodex, I guess. You can look that up, kids, what a Rolodex is. But nonetheless, I kid. But yeah, go to YouTube and you see my name, Michael Caratino, but it's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ, 005 at MVC005 on YouTube, guys, and subscribe. Like I said, because you got just a wee bit to catch up on. And also, the cool thing too is I want you to watch, but you're out driving around, you're headed to Wednesday lunch. Hey, you can listen on the greatest internet radio station on the web, the Casual Sports Radio Network, guys. All you have to do is go to www.ksrnaz.com. Page will open up. Click listen live. Hit play Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. There's Pitchfork Lunch. Bam. Again, big ups to Casual E for letting us become part of the KSRN family. So now we have Sun Devil. We have Pitchfork Lunch and going around around and inside Sun Devil athletics all over the world, as it should be, right? My pitchfork lunchers. So as it should be. So yeah, just go to, again, www.ksrnaz.com. Page will open up, click listen live, hit play. There you go. And guys, when you're on the at the KSRN website too, subscribe to their socials. Obviously, the NFL draft starts tomorrow. Just round one. We'll see if maybe somebody does take Cam Scattaboo in round one. I don't know. It's a crazy, huge, deep running back draft, and I've seen some. And I told a bunch of you before, some mock drafts that, or I've told all you pitchfork lunchers, I should say before, I've seen some mock drafts where, there's, Ashton Genty's in the first round. And then even the, was that Omari Hampton from North Carolina, the young man there, is in the first round too, but 2 running backs in the first round, or maybe just one with Ashton Genty, but who knows what teams can say. But yeah, I know Scattaboo is predicted, predictions day 2 draftee. So yeah, but Casual E, my point is, on the Casual Sports Radio Network, you're there. Subscribe to their socials because you want comprehensive coverage of the Cardinals, Suns, Diamondbacks, Mercury. He's got you covered. And now, obviously, with the draft in Green Bay, as we all know, he will have you covered there as well with the Cardinals. So, and what they do, again, we'll see. Like I said, all the mock drafts, all this guy, that guy, without trades, this and that. I'm sure it'll be. I guarantee you this. It won't be like the NCAA tournament. It will not be all. It won't be chalk. But somebody did get. I'm sure somebody gets some picks right because of where players slot. But nonetheless, but Casual E's got you covered, like I said, with that and the Cardinals and all the phenomenal coverage there on the Casual Sports Radio Network. Again, when you go to the webpage, you'll see a lot of it, a plethora of. There we go again. One of the 2 best words in the English language, articles and just keeping everybody up to date. So again, go to www.ksrnaz.com. Page opens up, click listen live, hit play. There we go. And stream it through your Bluetooth. Again, I want you to watch. Don't watch and drive. And I always will remind you that every day. Don't watch and drive as, pay attention to the road. You're Sun Devils. I know you will. I just like to, remind, and you can remind others that may have went to that school down south that actually listen to the show and get caught up, all that good stuff. But yes, that is, like I said, you can listen, stream it through your Bluetooth, and then you're going to meet friends for lunch. Boom. You get there, you can still obviously listen or watch on the other avenues, but nonetheless, head up to Casual Sports Radio Network, because again, like I say, Casual E has you covered, not just with obviously the wonderful Sun Devil content, but like I said, Cardinals, Suns, Diamondbacks, Mercury. He has got you covered all there. So, but yes, it is. Today is Wednesday, and it's the penultimate practice or the penultimate spring practice. As a little bit happened out there today. It was very, very entertaining, to say the least. It's always entertaining. Well, you know me. I'm definitely down with it. Very entertaining because of so yes, a lot of things entertaining out there. I will bring you some video. Absolutely awesome. loving how the depth. I know I've said it, but we'll hear from offensive coordinator Marcus Arroyo and defensive coordinator Brian Ward on the show. We will hear from them in a little bit. Yeah, so it was absolutely awesome to see this player that made catches. Little tease there. A lot of you may have seen on the good old X on my account or others that you follow who it was, but I am not going to spoil it for you. I am just going to show it to you, but first I have to find it. But yeah, it was, again, not surprising that he made the catch, but the athleticism that we've been talking about of this player is insane. Yep. Oh, and there was two of them, so I have to show you the first one. Because, like I said, yes, there was two. There was two, like I told you. So, but this first one came in the this first one came in the main event battle out at spring practice, which you will see. And the second one came in when they were doing some individual one-on-ones. Here we go. Yes. So this, I'm going to set this up. This is, you will see in 1 second. Hold on. So we've talked about it on the show, played his sound, asked some questions, but Clayton Smith, and we heard Coach Dillingham talk about it last year. We heard Coach Mons, even this year, and even Coach Brian Ward, defensive coordinator, asked Coach Regal about it too. But Clayton Smith, and like I said, if you've ever seen his recruiting tape, and I'm sure it was tough for him to narrow it down, but just the athlete he is, what he's been able to do. So for those listening, I shall describe for you, because this is, like I said, the those listening on the Castle Sports Radio Network, love it, forks up to that. But this is Clayton Smith in the one-on-ones. I want to say going up against Jalen Moss. I need to double check that really quick for you guys. But yeah, so this is their main event where, again, it's been like challenges, but it's not always just, a good amount of times it is like, offense versus defense, right? You guys get that. I know that. You guys definitely, get that. But that's not it. There it is. Notebook took a hit. But anyway, He was going up against, I want to say it was Jalen Moss. But let me just be correct on that because, yeah, it was Jalen Moss. So Jalen Moss, normally a receiver. Clayton Smith, normally a defensive end. And a lot of time, again, Coach Dillingham's done that since, obviously his first year here, the main event, just like challenges, guys. And a lot of times offense, defense might be O-line, D-line, but it might be like, a linebacker running a route, or obviously maybe a DB running a route against a receiver. We've seen it, right? I've showed it to you here on Pitchfork. We've seen it. But this is Clayton Smith taking on Jalen Moss in the main event. So you look at that beautiful release. He goes up, gets the right hand, lands in, and look at the fellow defender celebrating. When Levitt comes over there and gets in on it, just absolutely phenomenal by Clayton Smith there celebrating. Again, I want to show it to you again, but look at his release on Moss. And again, Moss being a receiver, he gets what DBs want to do, but absolutely phenomenal as he hits the fade in the corner. Sam Levitt hits him, but then just look at Clayton Smith. Goes up, right hand on the ball, brings it to the other hand. Let's see. Hold on. I'm gonna slow it. I'm gonna go back just a teeny bit. Make sure. Oh wait. Hold on. I'm gonna go a bit screen real quick here, to get the full. He got that foot in, guys, and he has control. And look, you see able to celebrate. So that's the first one, right? Yeah. So that was the first one for the phenomenal defensive end athlete that is Clayton Smith. Again, caught the one of the two fake punts last year that ASU ran successfully. He was able to catch that. And then this one that, again, I will describe for all those listening on the Casual Sports Radio Network. This one right here is in one-on-ones when the receivers and the DBs go one-on-one, again, getting that good work in both sides. But this is Clayton Smith one-on-one as he's gone up against Nyland Green. Back for this one. Goes inside, gets the separation. Look at that. That's just a fade like doing it for a few seasons. And got that. And look at that. He was 2 or 3 almost. Not his first one. The second one, which I was kind of over there, where I was in a better position. I didn't get. And then he scouts out. Now I got to go tackle right there, guys. I mean, that is just, again, absolutely awesome. So yeah, I want you to, I'm going to play it again. I'm going to go full screen, but again, those listening on KSR and you can still hear me. So, yeah, so Clayton Smith got his second touchdown of the practice right there. But you saw it right there. I mean, he keeps his foot in. He gets his foot in, gets the separation. I mean, drives right at Nyland Green like you would expect a receiver to do. I mean, you might not expect a rush end charging at guys, but, maybe breaking it out too early, fading too wide, helping Green out with his coverage in a way if you're not running the route as you should, drive it at the defensive back like he did. And then again, when he got the separation, not fading too far to where he's out of bounds. So again, the athlete that is Clayton Smith on Pitchfork Lunch, again, I have lobbied for it. Not that it means anything to the coaches. I've, asked him first. So last season, and Clayton's like, see, you gotta, put the honey in the ears. I'm like, if they're not listening to you, they're not going to listen to me, but they might act like they're entertained. But yeah, Clayton Smith, wow. That was, some of, like I said, the penultimate practice. And this team, like I said, guys, it's been an exciting spring. Fan Fest Friday. I mean, get on out there. Get on out there as as to Mountain America Stadium, as again, absolutely awesome. It'll be again, and you'll see what some of these young guys can do. Again, we're going to hear about the young guys from Coach Arroyo and Coach Brian Ward coming up in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, just absolutely awesome. I mean, like I said, what Clayton Smith can do. But yeah, Fan Fest again, 5 to 7:30 this Friday. It is free. Yep. For the Free Fan Festival on Friday, April 25th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. Bring the whole squad for family-friendly activities, food trucks, and more, as per the message from Sun Devil Football. So, yeah, it'll be absolutely awesome. But yeah, that is Friday. So, baseball last night, the crosstown rivalry, my friends. That is again this crosstown matchup that has developed into, again a valley rivalry in some sports, but Grand Canyon able to just hold on. And get the 7-6 victory last night over the Devils. I mean, hey, both teams came out. What'd they do? Of course, score in the first inning. ASU got one in the top of the first. Grand Canyon answered back with 2. Nobody scored in the second. If you guys didn't see, real quick recap, ASU got 3 in the third, so now they're up 4-2. ASU got another one in the top of the fourth, so now they're up 5-2. Then Grand Canyon gets one back in the bottom of the fifth to make it 5-3. ASU gets that back in the top of the sixth to make it 6-3. And then Grand Canyon gets 2 in the bottom of the sixth to make it 6-5. They also got 2 in the bottom of the seventh, and then nobody scores in the eighth. And ASU didn't score in the ninth, so Grand Canyon not having to bat. And they win the game 7-6. And it was, let's see. Oh, let's do. But yeah, they lose 7-6, and but again, it was just one of those things where you're looking at it, and they were right there. But like I said, late innings, I think Grand Canyon cracked down. So yeah, Michael Diaz hits the home run for Grand Canyon, who now, let's see, their record is now 24-16 overall. They are 10-5 in the WAC and 14-5 now at home, 9-9 away. But yeah, they improved to 24-16 for the Devils. Now they are 25-16. But like I said, 11-7 in conference, loving that. 18-8 at home. Now 1 game under 500 on the road, 7-8 on the road. But yeah, and now they have BYU tomorrow, Friday and Saturday again, because BYU doesn't play on Sundays. Last weekend it was because Easter weekend. Like I said, they never schedule games on Sundays for the spring sports. But yeah, so tomorrow at 6:30 out at Muni, and then Friday at 6:30 and Saturday night at 6:30 as well. So I mean, just think you can go to the fan or Friday night, you can go to the Fan Fest, and then after you're done with that, you can catch the rest of the catch the rest of the baseball game, man. Get in there, even though again, but yeah, you can definitely do that. So, but yeah, they got BYU coming up on, like I said, starting tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. So softball goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They are at Texas Tech. Remember to close out their regular season. Yes, so softball has that going on. But looking at the Big 12 baseball standings real quick, guys. West Virginia, again, 13-3, still up top. Kansas and that team down south and TCU are all 12-6. And then right behind them, the only one at 11-7, that is ASU. And then K-State is 10-8. And then everybody else is under 500. You got Baylor, Cincinnati, and Texas Tech at 8-10. Oklahoma State at 6-9. And then Houston at 6-11, and then UCF, BYU, and Utah, or UCF and BYU at 6-12. Utah's at 5-13. So again, BYU is a team again struggling a little bit. Need to take care of business at home. Would love to get all three, because if you're the Devils and you get all three, now you go to 14-7 in conference play, and really start to separate yourselves, and wanting to think that maybe. From K-State, and even like I said, Baylor at 8-10, kind of lurking there, but you're 4 over 500, and you can chase down, TCU, Kansas, that team down south. West Virginia again at 13-3, man, they are 34-5 overall. So the Mountaineers, and I've seen bits and pieces of their games, Pitchfork Lunchers, full disclosure, not like I haven't watched a full one game, but I've seen actually probably over 2 games of theirs, if piecing the innings together. And yeah, this team, to overstate the obvious, I know you're like, hey, Michael, very obvious. You sound like you maybe went to school down south there. Yeah, they are very good pitching wise. Liked what I've seen, and offensively, they're delivering, man. And I know you don't get to that record if you're not. But so West Virginia, who let's see, it's the Devils do not play West Virginia. So they have BYU conference-wise left. They have BYU tomorrow through Saturday. And then next week they are in Waco, May 2nd through 4th. They are in Waco to take on Baylor. And then they in Waco to take on Baylor. And then they go to Houston, and then they come home. They're at Waco for Baylor. The next weekend they host Houston, and then the last weekend of conference play they take on Oklahoma State in Stillwater on the road. So that and that's since it's the last series, that's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday as well. So the Devils getting a little used to that. And then the Big 12 tournament starts May 20th in Arlington, Texas, at Globe Life Field. Yes, the home of the Texas Rangers. So the 20th through the 24th. I got Tuesday through Saturday. And again, you guys remember the Baaseball tournament being at Scottsdale Stadium the last few years. That's the format it's going. So the Devils trying to see where they'll be seated, and the higher the better, because you can take care of business. Like I said, Baylor just under 500, but BYU way under 500. Houston struggling. Oklahoma State, where did I say they were at? They're 6-9. So you got Oklahoma State and Houston, who's 6. Oklahoma State 6-9, Houston 6-11, BYU 6-12. I mean, Baylor's, of the conference records, Baylor, like I said, 8-10 is, the toughest there. But if Coach Bloom goes, like you said, I mean, you got to play. You're in a tough conference, to overstate the obvious. completely tough conference to overstate the obvious. And it's but you got to take care of business against teams that you should take care of business against. And when you look at those, again, conference records, I mean, especially Baylor, like I said, at 8-10, okay, hanging around 500, and Baylor overall is 26-14. So they've definitely won, obviously, their fair share of games. The Devils, like I said, 25-16. But again, with not having to see West Virginia already taken, 2 or 3 from Kansas, dropping 2 or 3, unfortunately, to that team down south, taking 2 or 3 from TCU, who's right above them. So again, you can ball with them, and Baylor being maybe the toughest, but on paper, again, that's why they play the games. You guys know how I feel about the whole paper thing. But yeah, for Coach Bloomquist, but I mean, again, this pitching, and you look at last night's pitching wise last night, Wyatt Halverson got the start. He went 2 innings, gave up 2 hits, both runs they were earned, 1 strikeout to 2 Ks. Then Easton Barrett came in for 2 1/3. He gave up 3 hits, 1 run, it was earned. He had 3 strikeouts, also had 3 walks. And then Derek Schaefer came in for 1 1/3, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 1 strikeout, no walks. And then Sean Fitzpatrick came in for a third of an inning. He walked a guy, but no runs given up there. And then Will Koger came in for an inning, gave up 1 hit, 2 runs. They were both earned, 1 strikeout, no walks. And then Cole Carlone came in for an inning, gave up 0s, and had 1 strikeout and no walks. So, but yeah, I mean, Koger and Carlone on the back end of the coming out of the bullpen guys. I'm a big fan of it. That's all I got to say. So anyway, I'm going to step aside, take a break real quick. And when we get back, we are going to hear from Marcus Arroyo, Sun Devil, Arizona State Sun Devil football offensive coordinator, and the defensive coordinator, Brian Ward, as they, again, wrapping up practices. Yes, the Fan Festival Friday, but just kind of their thoughts where their side of the ball is at, guys that have developed. You will hear from them. We will get into that. And when, we might see a little bit from out of practice, but like I said, one on the way out, one on the way in of the man that had a heck of a practice today. But yeah, when we get back here on Pitchfork Lunch, Marcus Arroyo and Brian Ward will hear from them as they give their synopsis of spring ball for the Devils here on Pitchfork Lunch.
Go get him.
KSRN has an inside track on all things sports, with topics and opinions from former players and local personalities. Catch 15-year NFL veteran Ed Smith and Jay Adams on Easy Sports Talk every Saturday.
Unfortunately, with this back and these knees, I don't quite have that ability, or at least I use.
For all things Arizona Cardinals, tune in Monday nights with Casual E and Sean McConnell.
Bird gang. I know it was another tough loss, but keep encouraged. We miss you, BA.
And now you can exclusively listen to former Arizona Cardinal Jeremy Bridges on his show, JB and Benny Blue Review.
Exactly.
Don't be dumb.
Sending a message out to the world.
Always relaying that message. Don't be dumb.
Yes, your guy, Benny Blue, comedian extraordinaire.
Exclusively on KSRN, Casual Sports Radio Network.
This is the sound of a racing heart. It's beating a little faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org. This is
Got a big painting project you've been putting off because you don't think you can afford it? Well, it's time to call the team at Customer First Solutions. Customer First is your one-stop shop for all home repairs, from full interior and exterior painting to handyman services, drywall repair, electrical, and plumbing. Customer First has the most competitive prices in the Valley. Your flat rate quote is based on the square footage of your home, and that includes wall repair. All Customer First technicians are licensed, bonded, and fully background checked for your assurance. Call or text Customer First Solutions at 480-877-0255 for your free quote. Customer First Solutions, where our customers and their homes are our first priority.
This is the sound of a racing heart. It's beating a little faster because it belongs to a young child. But this child isn't in the middle of a close soccer game or playing with her puppy in the yard. Her heart is racing because she's just been told she has to move foster homes again. Change a child's story. There's a child waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org. This is the sound of a racing heart.
KSRN has an inside track on all things sports, with topics and opinions from former players and local personalities. Catch 15-year NFL veteran Ed Smith and Jay Adams on Easy Sports Talk every Saturday.
Unfortunately, with this back and these knees, I don't quite have that ability, or at least I use.
For all things Arizona Cardinals, tune in Monday nights with Casual E and Sean McConnell.
Bird gang. I know it was another tough loss, but keep encouraged. We miss you, BA.
And now you can exclusively listen to former Arizona Cardinal Jeremy Bridges on his show, JB and Benny Blue Review.
Exactly.
Don't be dumb.
Sending a message out to the world.
Always relaying that message. Don't be dumb.
Yes, your guy, Benny Blue, comedian extraordinaire.
Exclusively on KSRN, Casual Sports Radio Network. KSRN has an inside track on all things sports, with topics and opinions from former players and local personalities. Catch 15-year NFL veteran Ed Smith and Jay Adams on Easy Sports Talk every Saturday.
Unfortunately, with this back and these knees, I don't quite have that ability, or at least I use.
For all things Arizona Cardinals, tune in Monday nights with Casual E and Sean McConnell.
Bird gang. I know it was another tough loss, but keep encouraged. We miss you, BA.
And now you can exclusively listen to former Arizona Cardinal Jeremy Bridges on his show, JB and Benny Blue Review.
Exactly.
Don't be dumb.
Sending a message out to the world.
Always relaying that message. Don't be dumb.
Yes, your guy, Benny Blue, comedian extraordinaire.
Exclusively on KSRN, Casual Sports Radio Network.
You are listening to the best internet radio station on the web, KSRN, Arizona.
Yes, those of you listening on the Casual Sports Radio Network, you are listening to You are listening to the best internet radio station on the web. I am Michael Caratino at Diablo00 on X, artist known as Twitter. You can see Pitchfork Lunch live there every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. My IG at michael.caratino.5, the YouTube channel, which y'all need to watch live if you can and subscribe to. It's at M's and Michael, V's and Victory, C's and Champ 005 at MVC005 on YouTube. And of course, like I said, the Casual Sports Radio Network, www.ksrnaz.com. So before the break, I told you we're going to hear from him. So let's get right to it. It's Marcus Arroyo, again, talking about, obviously, with the offense done with the spring, young guys, again, freshmen that should be, early enrollees, graduated in December, enrolled so they can get into spring ball and get the wheels rolling before fall camp. So, again, absolutely huge. But here is Sun Devil offensive coordinator, Marcus Arroyo.
Just kind of look back at the whole spring at this point, like how have you felt compared to what your expectations were?
Good. I mean, I think I've always looked at spring as like there's got to be a task at hand to get done, and I think whether it's the development of the roster, whether it's really going through the scheme from the offseason and making sure you're checking the boxes that you want to get done, implementing new things, and at the same time being able to get guys to play fast. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me, and I think that we've implemented some new guys. We've talked about it all spring with the guys we've added to it. Have we improved those guys? Have we added value to the roster? Is there better depth? And then there's a handful of things, a laundry list of stuff, I should say, that we wanted to get done offensively. Whether it be up reps and drop back pass, work certain control passes, work in different protections, work some different concepts. I think we've been pretty diligent with that. My OCD is pretty good at keeping track of that stuff. So I do like what we've done in spring. I like that. I like the juice and energy that the new guys have brought to it, and I think that's got to be able to take one more practice and carry that over into summer, because that's when they start carrying themselves.
When spring practice started, what were your expectations of what the running game was going to look like, and have those expectations been met?
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, I think finding out what these guys are capable of doing athletically, because regardless of what kind of play design you have, you still, in my opinion, got to fit it around the players, and that's how we've always been. Is who do we got? Players first, scheme second, coaching last, and that's the way you put it. And I think matching up the scheme with the players is something we've done. I got a pretty good feel on some of these guys and what they're capable of doing. I think that I feel good about that. We're not throwing out our offense, obviously, but I feel like I've got a good feel for what these new backs are, what Kanye feels good with, what I need to develop in that regard, whether it be run game, screen game, or pass game. To see Man as a true freshman who should be at prom this week, probably, to see if he's able to do some things, first of all, physically, because as a guy coming in early, the physical piece is the biggest game. The speed of the game is you can't help that, but the physical piece, can he hold up in certain situations? Seeing Ray leap back in a regular role with a lot of reps, his conditioning, is he back from his little tweaks? So I've been fired up because I felt like I got a good feel on what these guys can do, what their dominant traits are, and where we can go in the summer and say, here's the things we need to really hone in on.
And then what about with Shimon, but like the growth, even the new tight ends, talking about new guys coming in. I mean, obviously getting to know your offense, but just this growth they've had all spring.
Yeah. The tight end room is another room. You guys know there's not a down. We're not usually with a tight end on the field. I don't think one snap last year in the 1,000 reps we had did not have a tight end on the field or two. And so those guys understand how significant they are. A guy like Shimon has only been in the system 1 year. To be able to have year two, the game slowing down, the system feels better, and to bring in new guys with that, to bring the new guys with that, to bring in a young freshman AJ and Brill, say here's how we play, here's how we attack this position, be multiple with them because they're all pretty athletic, create some mismatch and see if the mismatches that we think on paper should match up, if they can handle that. So we saw some of that, which is cool. So I think that being able to control the edge of the formations with the tight end are big for us. And those guys playing in the middle of the field and matching up so far have been awesome in spring.
Is there anybody that's really surprised you, maybe come out and been better than you thought they would be?
I don't think naming one guy. I think if I was to name a group, I think the freshmen we have adapted really quickly. The early freshmen have adapted really quickly. They show up. Like, they're not guys you did not see in the spring. Like, they're not guys who enrolled early, the majority of them, and you didn't see. Even when you talk about early linemen, young linemen, the same thing. They're harder to see because they're never in here in front of you guys or in the paper, or they don't their stats. But to see the young freshmen we recruited to be able to come in and do things athletically and mentally in the system right now have been really cool.
How well have things operated with Ben Coleman at center now from the beginning of spring to the end?
Good. I think the most exciting piece of that is, we try to apply a lot of pressure onto Ben, and Ben's already applied a bunch of pressure on himself. And so you almost were like, all right, well, he's put enough pressure on himself to get this done. You see him in some dark hours, early, late, here, snapping, when we're not around, non-practice days, working at center. And that's when you're like, okay, they get it. They understand the intent. They understand what it's going to take. And Ben's investment in that has been awesome. We're not there yet. It's the first year as a center. We're not there yet, but I think you add a summer profile to it and then a fall camp, and I think it can be pretty special.
On Monday, Kenny was asked about where Sam has grown the most throughout spring, and he said in the quick game. Have you noticed that as well?
Yeah, we've made a big effort in the control pass game. Part of the development at quarterback in the system we have, and the system I've been a part of and raised in, is in year 2 and year 3, the hardest thing to get a quarterback to do out of high school or a young guy is understand the control passing game and timing. Whether it's in the NFL or not, rookies or whatever, the best thing the veterans do that have been part of it, they understand the control pass game, the first and second pass game, and protections. And so that's always a big piece in quarterback development is in year 2 is I'm going to settle you down and understand timing, rhythm, depth, protection on first and second in case you have to get to that point, because I think that's where you can make that next step. Those guys, young guys and guys like Sam, they're easy to get out. He'll easily get out of pocket. He'll easily go one and run. That's part of being a freshman, and I got to dictate how to control that, how to teach that. And I think the quick game and control passing game, there's no question that's been a big uptick.
So that's really the understanding the why, not just the what.
Understand the why, not the what. That's exactly right. Why we do what we do, in that regard. Why we're doing it. What the regard is to first and second down passing. What we're going to do, ramping up the reps, making it I put a number on it before camp that I want to be up at least 15 to 20% on first and second drop back game to force the issue and teach it. Otherwise, I don't know how else to get what we need to get out of it.
Has Jalen Moss been the what you hoped coming in with the experience that he's had?
Jalen Moss is exactly what we thought. He's exactly what we thought. An experienced guy who's tough, who knows the pass game. I mean, Coach Tedford, who I called first, was right on, man, spot on. Obviously, I didn't know him like family, so he'd never probably lied to me. Couldn't be more right, as it usually is.
How's the rest of that room shaping up with all the new guys emerging?
Which room?
Receivers.
Good. I think that's a group that's got a lot of new faces with JT, especially sitting for a lot of this, and resting him. And so there's a lot of timing, a lot of learning, a lot of growth. And I think summer and fall camp is really when those guys start to become a really tight nucleus, And so excited about those guys. I think we've got some guys outside who are going to be able to help us.
When you talk about the freshmen hitting the ground running, what are some of those traits you're trying to identify when recruiting them as high schoolers that they have that aptitude to really get in and it's not too big for them?
Yeah, I mentioned that when the one thing that was sticking out, that the physical piece is the piece you're like, okay, can the physically early on, will they be able to have the demands of this level of football? Will a guy like Man or a guy like AJ, how do they physically come in and be able to stack up? The next piece is the mental piece, the aptitude of, we're not a high school offense. Can they pick this thing up? And I think you got to be smart as coaches. That's where the piece is. The freshman, Harry, another guy who's playing wide receiver, who's shown up a bunch. Every practice he makes 1 or 2 plays. For those guys to come in and do what they're doing right now says a lot about, number one, where they're at, their coaches, and what high school they're at. I mean, cheers to all those coaches and those staffs at Orange and the places like that we got these guys, Oklahoma, and all the places that are teaching these guys ball, because we didn't teach them that before he got here. They came in, they've done a good job applying what they learned, and coaches are doing a hell of a job with them. But I think when you're looking at a high school kid, you're trying to find out physically and mentally, can he fit in? Right away, that's the first piece, minus the individual skill traits.
What do you make of the Clayton Smith reps at wide receiver, and how fun is that?
Yeah, I no comment.
You got it good?
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
What about him?
Wide receiver or
edge? Yeah. It's I mean, I like him at edge, but we do whatever the boss tells us to do. Good with anything.
Your take on the defense through basically all of spring now?
Yeah, it's been solid, just constant growth. There's still like some of the things is we got to work through some of the blown assignments and mistakes. And we got to become more disciplined up front and understanding the situations, and that's on us to be able to get that to those guys and understand when they're going to try to draw us off sides. And we got some veteran players, but we're also getting a lot of guys that haven't been in there, getting a lot more reps right now. So it's as a whole, we're growing and we're getting better. So trying not to waste any practices, and you know, a lot of guys are getting reps too. So we're trying to develop that underbelly of our depth chart right now too. So got a lot of guys that are even with our threes running against the ones and trying to mix up those groups. So it's been a productive spring from that standpoint, but you know, there are times we feel like we kind of step back from our standard, and we don't want to do that.
And with growing, how do you feel some of the, I mean, a lot of guys I know have kind of flashed with some of the younger DBs throughout from the start of spring till now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where a lot of those guys, we've been able to develop some depth, which is really cool. We've been able to get guys reps against, you know, some of our better players on offense too, and those guys have been able to go out and execute in situations. The thing that we got to get better at is, you know, and something that we got to get better at from last year is more 3 and outs, more, you know, more quick series. Whereas you've seen, I feel like when we have certain personnel in the field, we can play closer and tighter defense, especially in the middle of the field. But you know, our philosophy is situational, so we're trying to get all the situations, and I feel like we have been able to improve in the situations, or at least get a multitude of reps in those situations this spring ball, unlike other spring balls. So again, it's just growth, and we're trying to just really set in concrete what our standards are, and that's you know, it's just part of the process.
We've seen you working on a fair amount of blitzing in recent weeks. How have you felt about the way that's functioned?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we work every day throughout fall camp. So just it's situational pressures. You know, we have a 1st and 10 and our 3rd down, and our 3rd and long, and our 2-minute pressures. And getting our guys to understand, you know, how the coverage works with the pressures is so important. And, you know, what look we're giving, and what throws we're allowing them to take, and what throws we got to be able to connect to. So I mean, it's we've been able to use all 14 practices thus far. Being able to understand our situational pressures. So we're always going to work our different pressures, and we have a myriad of them. So it's really try to script it at 1/3 of our practices. That's what we're getting, is 1/3 of our calls are going to be pressure.
And the execution has been.
Oh yeah, it's actually, I mean, we're way ahead of where we've been before. Very few busts when we run pressures. You know, the tough part about our defense is all the different coverage adjustments that we make. So that's why we got to be able to script 2/3 of practices with a lot of our coverages, so we're able to fit those coverages the proper way.
Do you feel when it comes to pass rush, you guys made the strides you wanted to make from last year?
Yeah, we have, but you know, we've also had some of those top guys, you know, not practicing them much this spring. So you know, it's really going to show itself this fall camp. I feel like there's times we've shown that, and we've been able to be a little more creative in how we've been able to develop our pass rush. But you know, we're one of the few programs who believe that you do develop pass rushers, and you can do that. So obviously, the proof will be in the pudding once we get to fall camp, and we get the, you know, our best pass rush groups out there. But it's been an emphasis, and you know, it's part of the process where we're not going to see really where we're at until we get into fall camp and into the season.
I'm sure you're not in the business of naming starters in April, but what have you made of the battle of next year?
I mean, we got 2 really good players there. We got one guy who can play multiple positions, and you know, it's still made the best man win. So, but I feel great about both those guys. Both those guys can play a lot of football for us.
What do you think Justin Watley's meant as a leader within the unit, and how contagious do you think his energy's been in there?
Yeah, he has contagious energy. He's a very active guy. When he has energy, our whole defense feels it. And you know, he's just a physical dude. I mean, you're talking about 275, 280 pound edge, who has some twitch, but he just brings a lot of physicality to that edge position. So you know, it's you know, our defense goes as our front goes, and you know, he's a key piece to that.
What's a guy like Cannon Siegel brought to your coaching staff?
Cannon's just great. He has a bright future ahead of him. He's very organized. He's very industrious in terms of looking for things to do and finding ways to get better. You know, he's what we're looking for in our young assistants and guys that want to learn. He's quick to listen, not quick to speak. And, you know, whenever you're quick to listen, you're quick to learn. And he really does. He's a sponge in there.
Your take on Rodney Vintage and how far he's gone. He had a good spring last year, but didn't play a lot.
Yeah.
Played well again.
Yeah, he had a good spring last spring for a true freshman, being a senior in high school. So now he's, you know what I mean? Now he's had another really good spring for being a redshirt freshman, and a guy that we really think can contend for that start, you know, in that starting rotation, and a guy that's going to play a lot of snaps for us. So really pleased with Rodney, and really excited about his future and his continued growth.
How much value was that be able to take some snaps off of your starters at that position? Feel good about it?
Yeah, it's great. Just having depth in the secondary is just a huge thing. And being able to get guys to play multiple positions in case of an emergency and being able to work that this spring is just going to add to our depth and add to just the continuity that we're able to have throughout the season. That's one of the blessings that we had last season. We didn't have that kind of depth, but we had guys play multiple positions, so we were able to slide Montana from free to nickel for our last game of the year and really not skip a beat on defense. And that's really what we're trying to do is it's not only getting guys that have position flexibility and that love football, but it's having guys just that have the ability the capacity to learn, and listen, and want to get better every day. And that's what it takes to be successful when you're talking about one season.
And with that ability, I mean, the linebackers, obviously last year, but I mean, a lot of guys coming back, Coach, has some pairs, but mixing and matching. What have you seen from their growth from even last spring to this spring?
Just a lot of depth, a lot of experience. A group too that knows how to practice like guys that have been there before. And when you're able to practice like that, you're able to keep yourself healthy. So the reps that they've gotten, they've been able to be physical, but at the same time be able to practice without getting anybody else or themselves hurt. Just not being battering rams, but really practicing like a pro and keeping themselves up and staying on their feet and being able to get the defense closed and being able to communicate, what the checks are and what to look for. And you got a great group with those guys, and we have depth, so we could be more fortunate.
Thank you.
And there you go. Both coordinators, Marcus Arroyo and Brian Ward. And like Coach Arroyo saying, I mean, again, like Demaryius Robinson, who he was talking about, man, the running back, I mean, yeah, should be probably at his prom. And Rodney Bimmage, Coach Ward asked their defensive team last year. Again, he had a really good spring. Like Coach said, as a senior in high school. But yeah, I mean, just the growth there, and what these young guys have done. And Coach Arroyo hit that on the head. You guys heard it. Is that coming in and what their coaches, but physically, and coaching them up on some things and seeing if they're physical, and then obviously the mental part of it with the playbook. He's like, it's not your high school. It's not a high school offense, obviously. And again, he's not taking a shot there. Just saying the more you have to do and getting used to it, and you're going to be a little slow, maybe make mistakes here, and in the growing process. But man, I will say this, and I've talked about the running backs. I know that, but Demaryius Robinson, man is his nickname. This young man has looked very good in this very deep and explosive battering, close to battering ram for linebackers or battering ram room for the running backs as well. It's just, but like I said, that's looking good. Also, when you think about the linebackers, like I asked Coach too. I mean, again, these guys, obviously Keyshawn Elliott is back from last year, as is Zyrus Fiasau and Tate Romney and Martell Hughes and and also Keyshawn. I did say Keyshawn. Crew Jackson's also back, and then Prairie Young Blacko, one of the younger linebackers. But just that whole group in general, no matter what Coach Cooper has them set up, but just kind of in and out. And then the new guys, young guys, and new guys have looked very good too. So it's I mean, expectations will come with this, and this is a team that. You heard it right there from Coach Ward, developing the depth. I mean, even in the secondary as well. So, I mean, Plas Johnson is out, which is definitely a bummer. But, nonetheless, but the secondary, I mean, when you have Keith Abney and Javen Robinson, and you have a guy like Rodney Bimmage just absolutely balling out. You've seen, Nyland Green, and even the young guy, Nico Clem, the brother of Jalen Clem. I mentioned him. I mean, it's like Tony Lewis and Kuba had a solid practice today. For defensively, but for ASU, it's exciting. So anyway, I'm going to end on the excitement there because we got to get out of here. So everybody have a phenomenal rest of your micro days at Hump Day. Woo, woo. Yep, that's for Mama, beginning and end of the show. You have a phenomenal rest of your Wednesday. I will see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. We'll talk about FanFest coming up. We'll talk about softballs, obviously, what they're doing this weekend. Baseball, like I said, They will start with Baylor. It starts with BYU tomorrow night as well, too. So, yes, going to get out of here. Everybody have a phenomenal, like I said, rest of your Wednesday. And, just like reigning Big 12 champs, volleyball champions, so the women's volleyball, always reminding me, #OurState. And you guys know that because it is #OurState. But as always, go Devils. And yes, Forks up.
I went to Arizona State. Right. I'm a Sun Devil, man.
The 27-yard line. That's a great call. Play fake. Bubba will put it up. Throws over the middle. Touchdown. Great play.
That's a way. Trying to center off with Eckerly, and he just missed the net. O'Reilly with the shot. Far down. He scored.
From behind for a month. Now with the lead, they're getting a little wobbly. Philadelphia, they won't get it. Wow.
Edwards pulls up and buries the flag.
Shot for